Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Big Fish Charter Services in Elginak. Experience a world-class muskie fishery on Lake St. Clair for predator fishing or a once-in-a-lifetime trip on the St. Clair River to tangle with a prehistoric lake sturgeon at Big Fish Charter Services. It's all about big fish. And by
quick and easy setup. Silent operation. 360-degree shooting. Triops 360, no limitations.
Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and this week we've got another brand new show for you. It's hard to believe hunting seasons are upon us. We're kicking it off with early goose season that was September 1st. We are into the mix of fall excitement now here on Michigan Out of Doors. Before we get to that goose hunt though, Jimmy and the guys have another exciting adventure for you.
Well, that's right, Jenny. To kick off this week's show, we're going to start in the northwest part of the Lower Peninsula, right near the Traverse City area, and our own Gabe Van Wormer and Jordan Brown, I don't know how they talked me into this, but they went up there for a couple of days and fished several different bodies of water, trying to catch as many species as they could, different game species of fish, in a couple of days of fishing. Well, I wish I would have been along on the trip. You won't want to miss it. You can kind of tag along with them for a few days and really see kind of what they caught and where they caught them. It's really a neat story. Lots of good stuff on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Well, in this next segment, we're going to try something a little bit different than we usually do. We're going to take a small boat, and Jordan and I are going to go up to the Traverse City area, and we're going to try to catch as many different species of fish as we possibly can in 2 days. Jordan and I have been talking about doing this shoot for several years now. I had a chance to fish with a friend years ago up in this area, attempting to catch 30 species of fish in only 30 hours. We caught everything from king salmon to creek chubs. This time we wanted to fish mainly game species that sportsmen could realistically target themselves.
Here we go. Well, the Traverse City area is really quickly becoming one of my favorite spots in the state. There's so many different unique fisheries in such a small area. There's very few spots anywhere in Michigan where you can catch so many different kind of species in the same like 15 or 20 miles. I mean, you can be on the big lake, you can be in all these great inland lakes. Some of the best smallmouth fishing in the entire world is in that part of the state. You can catch trophy muskie, walleye, pike, everything you can really think of. Cisco whitefish, stuff that people from southern Michigan like me don't really ever get to fish for. You can catch all of that so close, and not to mention it's probably one of the most beautiful areas in the state to go with it.
Well, species number one, not necessarily a giant. We're out here trying to catch different kinds of fish though today, so I'm not going to give up and have that be the only bass I catch, but we're not going to spend a ton of time with them. Got a largemouth. This lake we're hoping to get a pike, a couple different kinds of panfish. maybe a smallmouth. So one off the board, hopefully catch a little bigger one before we give up though.
So trying to accomplish this feat where we're gonna go in, we're gonna catch as many species as we can in a couple of days, or really probably about 15 or 20 hours of fishing, it's exciting because the area is so nice. But it's more difficult than you think when you're going to an area almost completely blind. You know, I've fished the big lake in Traverse City and East Bay and West Bay a little bit, but some of these lakes I'd never heard of, let alone ever fished on. So that kind of aspect of going into it blind, let's just see what we can do, kind of trust our ability, made the whole trip pretty exciting.
That monster is another species. And that's all we're looking for today. That might be the world's smallest sunfish, but that's all we're looking for. That's number fourth different one today. We had to cross off this one. We're hoping to get a pike on this lake, and then we're moving out, hopefully going to the East Bay tonight for smallmouth. So one more down, let's find a pike.
I think we finally got our pike. Oh yeah. Well, he's not the biggest one, but there he is. Jordan, we've been fishing for these pike for quite a while, and Jordan, just get him right back in. Jordan had one just a minute ago and just bit him clean off, and it was a real nice pike. But we finally got our pike. So I think we're pretty much done on this lake. We might still try for some crappies. A friend of ours, Dave Rose, is going to show up, and he said he's got a hot crappie spot. So we're going to see if he can come through on that one. So, all right, we got our pike.
Easy catch and release. I just got done saying how there's supposed to be a pike there. There was. Just no size. We've kind of had that problem today, panfish, whatever. We're not catching anything real big, but just crazy how many fish you can catch in a small area up here. Having a lot of fun.
In the first 5 hours in the Traverse City area, we had boated several different species of fish in 2 different lakes. But the one fish that eluded us was a crappie. With the sun setting, our thoughts turned to the morning as we got the boat set up for a big lake excursion out of the nearby port of Frankfurt. Well, we just got set up. We're in Frankfurt now, and this is something I used to do as a kid, but it's all changed in Lake Michigan now. We're going to fish downriggers off the back, right near the bottom. We'll even pound the bottom. Right now we're looking for the silverfish. A little bit later on we might check out the Lakers, but then outside of that we got our diver rods, and then outside of that we got our lead core. So we're kind of putting out a full program to see what happens here, and we got some meat, we got some spoons. We'll see what happens. We might even switch to lake trolls a little bit later on for Lakers, so see what happens. After about an hour of fishing without seeing a net fly, we decided to run about 20 miles offshore to the temperature break to see if we couldn't find some fish. While fishing near shore, fish are caught suspended in the water column or near the bottom. When fishing out at the temperature break, the depth might read over 700 feet, but the fish are way up high, sometimes almost with their fins out of the water.
Well, we made a big move this morning. We were fishing inside on the shelf. Absolutely nothing going on there for us. We moved out here to 600-800 feet of water, and we're right on a temperature break. Feeling a little better. Right on a temperature break, we basically just cruised out until we found a big differential between kind of 60 degrees and 56 degrees. Got a bunch of spoons, everything up really high, and we got a fish on. One-man show right now. Gotta have someone running the camera. Doesn't feel very big, but a Laker way up high on a spoon. Since we're just out here fun fishing today, we're gonna put this one back and go for our next species.
One of the things if you're gonna do something like this is you need a track system on your boat. This one's a Burke's Custom Tackle, and as you can see, I just put new rod holders in here. When we're bass fishing, pan fishing, we just pull these rod holders out, no problem. We've got tool holders over here, and then the downriggers. When we were in on the bank, we were fishing with the downriggers. Now we're not. If we wanted to, we could slide these right out, put them up on the front deck. They'd be out of the way. It's just nice to have a track system like this. You're able to slide things in, slide things out, and on to the next species. Works awesome for something like what we're doing today. Look at that. Pretty funny. That's pretty neat. Way out in this deep water. Although we were having fun catching Lakers, we were really looking for a steelhead. They are usually the targeted fish out at the scum line, but we couldn't seem to keep one buttoned up once hooked.
Fish on, and I'm hoping it's a steelhead because that's the species we need.
No.
We needed that one. Is that close enough? I could almost touch it with the rod tip. Man, there's just a little steelhead, but that's kind of what we've been trying to get for the last hour or so here, is trying to get one more species, and it was most likely going to be a steelhead. Just a little guy, short line, way up high. The last two fish we've caught have been in like the top 6 or 7 feet of the column out here in 700 feet of water. Shoot. I'm gonna try this one again. We're looking for a steelhead. I just lost one right at the boat, and it looks like a steelhead. Really hoping this is the fish we're looking for.
Gotta get that snap weight off. Just net him.
You want to try to net him? You want me to?
Yep, you can.
Got our second big lake species. Not a bad one either. Well, we finally got a steelhead. We've been fishing for about 5 hours this morning, and we got our laker pretty early, and we're trying to get as many species as we can, and we knew this was probably the only spot we could get a steelhead. So we stuck it out. It's almost 11 now. We've lost 2 trying to get this one, and beautiful fish. Actually a drop back fish. You can see it's pretty roughed up around the fins and stuff, so this is a fish that spawned this year and came back out to the lake. Something kind of cool, our last couple bites have all come really high and on walleye rods, using a snap weight, kind of something you'd use on the bay or use for walleye on Erie, using that out here in 700 feet of water, catching fish in the top 10 feet of the column. Really kind of unique way to fish, but it's working.
Well, it was a little more difficult than we thought out of Frankfurt, but we were able to get the species that we wanted. We quickly ran back in and ran to another lake where we heard a hot bite of Cisco was going on. Neither of us have ever fished Cisco's before, so this was going to be something different for both of us. There's one. And we've been trying for this one for a while. Had a couple on, but, oh, there he is. Ah, yeah. That is a Cisco. You don't think of this as being a game fish very often, but you know, it's just like a whitefish, but it looks a little bit different. Has a nice forked tail on him. The mouth looks a little bit different, but those are a fun fish to catch and another worthy opponent up in the Grand Traverse area. Now that we had the elusive Cisco, it was on to walleye. This is one of my favorite fish to fish for, but on inland clear lakes, this can be a difficult one. But we were able to get on Long Lake right at last light and get on the fish. Well, what we're trying out here on Long Lake is we're in a deep water basin adjacent to weeds. There's weeds right up here in a fairly shallow flat. These walleyes are sitting in this deep water basin. They're moving in there and out of there, and they're cruising across this deep water. I mean, we're in 28 to 32 feet of water here, and I'm just slow rolling, using the trolling motor, slow rolling a jig with a leech across the bottom and just dragging it, bumping it off the bottom a little bit. And when you feel one, you'll feel tap, 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 tap. You kind of give it to them and you'll feel thunk. When you feel that thunk, You just set the hook, but hopefully that works. We don't know this lake real well. I fished it one time ever, and it was about 7 years ago, so we'll see.
I don't know if it's a walleye. It feels pretty small, but ooh, perch. Nice. Now this is not a new species, but it's about 4 times the size of the one that Gabe caught, so I'll take it. Perch and walleye, beautiful night. We're up here in Northwest Michigan. Not sure it gets a whole lot better.
There's one. Oh man. Come on, be a walleye. Be a walleye. Be a walleye. I can't see him yet. It's pretty deep right here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a nice walleye. That's a nice walleye. All right. Here we go. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. Nice fish. Very nice. Well, there we go. A jigged walleye on Long Lake. This is fun. We catch a lot of these out in the big lake, but catching them in the lake is a riot. And I think he'll bump actually, so he might be going on the dinner table, but just another species, one that we thought might be a little bit tough on in the lake, but oh yeah. The first full day of our trip was over, and we had sampled a wide variety. From scumline fishing 20 miles out to Cisco jigging in 90 feet of water, it had been a fantastic day of fishing.
Probably the biggest shocker of the whole trip for me was the smallmouth bass fishing. Now again, we're just going to a lake and trying to catch one species and we're moving on. You know, unfortunately we couldn't spend a lot of time fishing for one species, but the one thing we never worried about was smallmouth. It's one of the best smallmouth fisheries in the world in that part of the state. So there was no worry about that, and it got towards the end of our trip and it was kind of like, we got to get that smallmouth out of the way. And I got to be honest, fishing some of the smallmouth lakes were different than anything I fished, and I fished mostly largemouth. So for an area that produces so many smallmouth, it was more difficult than I thought, but the terrain, the water is so much different than what we fish here downstate. You know, we were fishing breaks that went from 30 feet to 100 feet. You know, down here, there's no lakes that are 100 feet, so that was a little different for me to kind of transition to.
All right, another species. Didn't have to go too far to get him. We've been working at him a little bit, but had to switch up tactics here. There's definitely much bigger smallmouth out here, but we're trying to do the species thing, so this is another species. We're fishing out here on West Bay, and downstate, everything I've done, these Lake St. Clair, it's all jigs. That's all we've been throwing. Had kind of a tough time, so now we switched over. I caught that one on a drop shot. So just trying something a little different, and so far it's working. Hopefully we'll get a couple more. Keep going.
After basically 2 days of fishing, we had boated 11 different species and fished 8 different bodies of water. That's what I would call a great trip. If you're looking to do something like this, be sure to do your homework. There are very few parts of the state that offer this kind of variety. As for Jordan and I, we will definitely be back to the Traverse City area. It's hard to beat this kind of beauty and variety here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
For our next story on this week's show, I was able to spend some time in Northeast Michigan near Hubbard Lake for the early goose season.
We are in Barton City, Michigan, goose hunting, September 2nd, second day. The object is to kill a lot of geese. We got Leroy Mendeka, Jim Wander, Keith Nettle, Mark McNeil, Yancey McNeil, BB, and bring them on. That's the plan. We've been here 30 years at this property. It was my wife's grandparents' farm, so it's been here for 100 years. I'm a small grains hay farmer, primarily oats, alfalfa. They've been coming in for the last week probably, landing in this field up on this knob, and the wind was primarily out of the northwest, so that's why I cut that trench so that they would pass over or drop in the X in between our pit and where the decoys were.
It didn't take long for birds to start pouring into the field we were hunting, but unfortunately they weren't working their way in the way we had hoped, which was making it tough to get the birds on camera. Thankfully, the waterfowl numbers in this area seemed to be trending up, and Mark was confident we'd have more birds work their way into our spread.
It's getting more and more waterfowl in this area. The farming's picking up. It died down. Family farms were going away. Now there's some more bigger farmers. I'm farming primarily for waterfowl with the hay and the small grain, and trying to develop a pond. Northeast Michigan's, we're getting quite a few more ducks and geese. Each year we see more and more. Probably the biggest flight would be on the east side of Lake Huron, Harrisville, Alpena, Oscoda. We're inland about probably 20 miles, so we probably wouldn't be on the flight path, more so it's more towards the lake. But we're getting better. Hubbard Lake's about 5 miles due north of here. The West Branch, there's Mud Lake, Jewel Lake. There's a lot of smaller lakes around here, Maynard Lake, where the geese and ducks can roost at night, comfortably. That's pretty much, it's getting better, a lot better.
Although the birds weren't cooperating perfectly, they were still providing plenty of retrieving work for Mark's lab BB. Like many sporting dog owners, to Mark, the dog work is as important as any aspect of the hunt.
He's a 3-year-old BB, got him out of the UP, hunt pheasant, partridge, ducks, geese. He's a 3-year-old male. He's a pretty good dog. He's our pet. He's a house pet, primarily. My wife says it's her dog. That's an argument. When it's hunting season, then it's my dog. That's how it goes, I think. But that's what it's all about, is to see the dog work is more fun than actually the hunt. The shooting the goose, duck, whatever it would be. See your dog work is pretty neat.
Double for you there, Jim. Take him. Take him.
We ended the day having killed 11 birds, and despite having a tough time getting them all on camera, it was a very enjoyable morning in an area of the state we don't get to waterfowl hunt in often. Special thanks to Mark and the crew for letting me tag along on a beautiful morning here in Northeast Michigan.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stay tuned over coming weeks. We've got a lot of excitement in store for you. We'll show you how to train a deer tracking dog, a UP bear hunt. We'll also take you along on a pheasant hunt for wounded veterans, and all sorts of fun stuff coming your way.
Well, I do hope that you can join us over the next few weeks here in Michigan Out of Doors. So much happening in our great state. Just this past week, I was in the Upper Peninsula tagging along on a bear hunt. Then I went to Saginaw Bay for the youth waterfowl season. That was a lot of fun. Now, this upcoming weekend, of course, is the youth deer season. I'm going to be taking a couple of my kids out. Hopefully, we'll have a great story to show you from there. So much happening right now in the state of Michigan. Make sure that you are getting outside and enjoying all that our state has to offer. And if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully, we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Rosie Brothers. Located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By Propane, Clean American Energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. Closed captioning is provided by the Michigan Propane Gas Association, Clean American Energy. Propane realtors promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.